It's funny, my partner Rodney is giving a presentation at the One-to-One conference in London today, and he sent me his deck, and he has been pretty bearish as well. But a year ago, he gave a presentation at that same conference and said, the structural deficit is here to stay, and as far as the eye can see, we're going to have a bull market here. So I agree with a lot of your points that like lithium may be a specialty chemical, but it certainly trades like a very volatile commodity. And, it overshoots on the upside, on the downside, and we didn't see, African supply, we didn't see lepidolite supply. And, but I'm going to do like a little bit, this thing is becoming a thing, like Trump, is, the Trump dance, it's like a TikTok dance. So like, I'm feeling like really optimistic. Simon Morris was optimistic. JB Straubel was really optimistic. So just on the where will you be wrong, thesis, you started saying like in the near term, we're not going to get to 20,000 or 15,000 spodumene. That's near term, 2 years, but you also put up a lot of bearish signs, more medium term, with the Paris data or whatever, Thacker Pass getting funded, et cetera. But just, we had, I forget his name. She's a Singapore analyst talking about a big bull case on Rockstock Channel recently on the back of, just super demand given how cheap battery prices have become. And he's forecasting like 4.3 million tons, not 3.3 that Albemarle is. So if we can get a demand like that based on solar, ESS applications, trucks, Tesla Semi. So the dance was because the optimism that's taking place now in the United States, under Trump, I think it's going to be, a big positive surprise. Trump has, Elon has Trump's ear. So I think just on
my comment is, I don't think that's an investable thesis. Trying to figure out what Donald Trump says he's going to build a big wall. There's no wall. He said Mexico's going to pay for it and pay for it. I mean, I don't think that's an investable thesis.
Fair enough. And your cost curve analysis, your arguments are that Albemarle's lying $20,000 isn't the incentive price. You're saying the incentive price is lower, and you very well may be right. I'm bullish because I think America is not going to cede, the EV dynamic to China, and how China has become successful. They had long-term vision, and they had, yes, they gave cheap loans. They supported, certain companies, and
how about talented?
And they have the talent, right? They absolutely have the talent. So they've invested in that. So we have started following some with the grants and the loans and the IRA. We're getting some stuff funded, but EVs are better and faster, and they're cheaper. All technologies better, faster, cheaper, win. They're better, faster, cheaper in China. They're not cheaper yet in the United States. So how do we get them cheaper? We get them cheaper because what does China have? They have a vertically integrated supply chain across closed loop. And yes, they have the skills. We need to finance, as JB Straubel said, there's been too much incentive on the EV side and on the battery side, not enough on the midstream, on the cathodes, on the hydroxide processing, et cetera.
So but I think, if you believe in capital efficiency, why build a spodumene conversion facility here when you can build one in Morocco? It's a free trade country. Or why not take what Arcadium does today? Arcadium takes carbonate from Argentina, puts it through a hydroxide conversion facility that's IRA compliant, by the way, and has battery grade hydroxide. Or you take carbonate directly from Chile and just use it for LFP. Why does it have to happen here? Because it has to happen here because might be better for us. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it could be better, but economics are economics. Who's going to fund that? I don't know.
Okay, so absolutely, South American brines can and will be converted here in America. But if they are converted here in America, then they're being taken away for the stuff that's being sent to China.
It's a market. You just haven't been like.
No, I know, but there's not enough brine supply in South America to feed all the demand from 1.2
right now,
million
or
tons
when?
today.
I mean, right now there is.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so like you could be bearish for the next 2 years. The question is like, when are lithium prices going to turn, and can you make money in the lithium space? Like today, would you initiate new short positions in lithium equities today?
Developers, not producers.
Developers, not producers. Okay, so you think some developers are overpriced?
Yeah.
Okay, so Arcadium proved that.
No, I take that back. I mean, you get into really specific things like Albemarle at 108. Okay, where are expectations about next year's EBITDA guide, how are their new contracts going to work? You can very specific stuff. It's just harder risk reward.
Okay,
Price direction.
That was a comment about a very short-term kind of trade
Yes,
and
correct.
Albemarle. But if you're a long-term investor and have a 3-year view, right? Like the lithium market has been the best performing, or the lithium price has been the best performing and the worst performing 4 times in the last 10 years,
Yes.
For each of them. So we've now 2 years into a bear cycle. If you were to invest in a basket of assets now, will you make money? Lithium companies, producers, and developers, will you make money with a 3-year view, in your opinion?
Depends what you invest in.
Okay, but do you think on balance, like if you're making a bear case for the next 2 years in terms of lithium price?
I think
so if you look a little bit longer than that, right? Is now a good time? So
Sure.
So you would be initiating short positions in select developers, but not producers. Would you be buying certain,
Yes,
Arcadium was a big buy?
I would be buying certain developers. I'd be buying certain producers.
Okay, so right now a lot of stocks have fallen. We produced the Arc Equity Scoreboard. There's a lot of different valuations across that scoreboard. A lot of things look overvalued to me. A lot of things look undervalued. But the market is trying to figure out where have we bottomed, right? There was an argument on the pricing panel earlier today that from benchmark that every time it hits 9, 10, it kind of bounces off that. But we've had a bunch of these kind of bear market rallies. You're making an argument that we're not going to get very much higher than that. And there's some who are arguing we're going to get a price spike to 30, 40,000. The question is it, will it happen? Will it happen in 2025? Will it happen in 2026? Will it happen in 2027?
No, I'm just saying it's not going to happen in 2025 or 26. I think we're going to be flat for a while.
Okay, so you're bearish on the lithium price until 2027. Sounds like.
Correct.
And
but the other part is the problem with going beyond 2 years is when all these guys say this is what's going to happen until 2035. How the hell can you know that? Things aren't funded. Until they're funded, it's just an idea.
Right.
I mean, all this DLE shit, it's not funded. So it's not funded. How can you put it in the supply model?
Right. Well, it is in a number of companies.
I know, but why do that? That's speculative.
Okay, fair enough. So you've been right. I met you here last year for the first time, and I thought we would have, from September to December. I knew the election was going to create a lot of uncertainty, but I was, 6 months too late. You were very bearish last year, and rightly so. Congratulations. Those who said that this is the lithium decade, higher for longer, now everyone's making an argument, lower for longer. Again, going back to my Ernie Ortiz interview, he's just the market just swings from overly bearish to overly bullish, and he thinks, supply and demand, or in any given year, you might have a 3% or oversupply or undersupply. Who knows? But some of the points that you made in your other issues, you said DLE, Aramet, bought out Tsingshan. I'm viewing that a bit differently. I think Tsingshan selling out at a 10% profit just at the cusp of production.
Yeah, but Aramet's got balance sheet issues. They're $650 million, and that's not easy for them to do. You better believe in it.
Yeah, well, they may believe in it, but there might have been a forced put, by Tsingshan. They were desperate to get funding.
Fair enough.
For that project. So to me, that's an indication that why would Tsingshan, who reinvented nickel?
If you have balance sheet issues, first thing they don't teach you in law school is breach. You just force put. I'm not paying, and then Tsingshan get pissed about it. Too bad. I got the things in production now, so that doesn't make sense. Because go look at Aramet's balance sheet. It's not great. And
what I'm saying is that I think there was a contractual obligation.
Yeah, but contractual obligation, you don't have money. You just say, I'm not performing, okay? And so that's
Aramet saying that to Tsingshan, where they have a partnership.
If you have a bad balance sheet like Aramet, why do this if you really don't think that thing's working? You're saying because
I'm saying Tsingshan doubts whether or not it works, and Tsingshan and Aramet have a joint venture in Indonesia for nickel that Aramet, they just ripped up a contract.
Fair comment.
I'm just saying, this is important because a lot of people believe in DLE, and this is the test case. Does DLE work in Argentina? I'm taking the other side of that argument that I think it may be bearish to the Aramet.
I started with it's a big if. That would seem to say that they're confident in it. Maybe they have disclosure obligations. Come 4Q, you're going to find out if any volumes got sold. We'll see.
We'll see, exactly. And then you mentioned kind of floor pricing. I think Rio Tinto will rip up Arcadium's price floors. I don't think they need to do that. And also Albemarle, yes, they had price floors, but they have struggled to grow their volume. So you call that bearish. Recycling many years away. The big ifs. The oil companies coming into DLE. I agree with you. Big if. The government involvement. I think
I
like
mean, do you really believe that Thacker Pass would have gotten commercial funding? Do you believe that?
No.
You think, yeah.
I don't. I think I call this government motors lithium.
Sure,
Okay.
exactly.
So America, Jigar Shah and his team are following what the China did. China supported a national champion. They're supporting government motors, General Motors, as they have in the past. They have 38% equity interest, 20-year offtake. If that doesn't work, GM and the government are going to like take that over. And GM emphasized that this is a way for us to lower our battery costs by getting low-cost supply. From an equity investor point of view, minority equity point of view, I think it's a very high-risk project. Would I have chosen to do that over,
I get all that. That's.
But it happened, and hopefully it'll
more
come
supply.
on stream
More
in 4 years.
supply is bearish.
Well, you need more. No, it's not. With a long-term view, you need to grow from 1.2 to 3-4 million tons.
If you want to be a bull,
5 or 10
what
years.
you want there to be no supply. Demand goes up at 70%, and the prices go crazy. I'm just saying, anytime you can create more supply, that's bearish.
I don't necessarily want prices to go crazy. I want
You don't. I mean, if you own equities, you do because you're long.
It's true. Like if you're a short-term volatile trader, and yes, lithium equities are treated as a volatile trade dominated by hedge funds and other kind of speculative activity. But if you want the world to move to electric vehicles and energy storage systems, you don't want all this volatility. You want like a decent price. You want people to be able to make money across the supply chain.
Look at the nickel price chart. I mean, all commodities are volatile. That's just the way they are.
I know, because they've been very substantially dominated by China's forward thinking and controlling.
Go through 1950 to 1980, the copper price just goes like this. I mean, all commodities are always volatile.
Yeah, it is. And lithium is a commodity, but the swings in lithium are not as great as the swings in copper or iron ore. Iron ore going from 80 to 200, back to 80 is not the same as going from 5,000 to 80,000 to 9,000, right?
I mean, cobalt, I don't know. There are plenty of smaller commodities that have done that. I mean, it's just the nature of commodity markets. Demand is more steady. Supply comes in chunks, and it goes boom, boom, boom.
And I completely agree that is going to continue to be the case in the lithium market. And the lithium market has been 2 years up, 2 years down, 2 years up. So we've now had like 2 years down. So when are we going to have up, right? Like I think sooner than I'm biased.
So when do you think?
Now. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen. It may happen in 2026. It may happen in 2020. It may happen in 2028. But it could happen sooner. My bull case, I'm more bullish than I have been in the past, just because I think we had a decisive election, and everything that I've seen, there's optimism. I think Elon Musk's influence on Trump and others will, I think there's a big trade deal, like for all the bluster and all the big tariffs, this is just a negotiating tactic. I think fundamentally in this industry, and J.B. Straubel said the same, the IRA was good, but you get what you incentivize. And as it was written, was great. As it was implemented, not so great. So as it was implemented, it incentivized too much investment in EVs and batteries and not enough in cathode and hydroxide. But if you look at what Tesla's doing, they're building hydroxide. It's almost ready to go. It's taking spodumene from North American Lithium. That is the future, right? That is, there's going to be more like Quebec and Ontario and Carolina.
Have they gotten that autoclave process to work yet?
No, not yet. But I have confidence that
never been done commercially.
Okay, well, if he's capturing rockets with chopsticks, he's going to figure out the meso-Odotech process. Okay, he's going to figure it out. He's going to figure out
because he has a big balance sheet. Can other people figure it out with a smaller balance sheet?
Well, I think he's going to welcome Chinese investment. CATL was on the tape today. I'd love to come if you welcome.
I hope so.
Trump on the campaign trail said that he'd welcome CATL and BYD.
Said he'd build the wall too.
Okay, I think he's going to, but he was thwarted by Pelosi and like a whole infrastructure of Democrats against that. He's going to be able to accomplish a lot more. I'm optimistic. It's all good to be pessimistic. Like I prefer to look at the glass half full.
I prefer realistic.
Okay, well, you're basing your pessimism based on past actions. The past is not necessarily prologue to the future.
Okay.
Like I'm just feeling optimistic, right?
Okay,
like about
enough.
what I'm watching politically in America. And I hope that if he does allow BYD and he does allow CATL into America, he's also going to allow Ganfeng and General Lithium and other converters here and other cathodes, so we can actually have the integrated supply chain here, and that's how we're going to catch up.
Yep.
Okay, and there's a trade deal to be done. Like for all the bluster, we're going to partner with China like on a number of things, but we've gotten a raw deal out of China, just as we've gotten a raw deal out of Japan and out of Korea. We welcome the Japanese in the auto sector. We welcome the Koreans.
I used to spend a lot of time in China with Glencore, trading with them. Let's just say their execution of deals and their performance of deals is a little different. And
Glencore or the Chinese?
The Chinese, when you are their counterparty, what they promise to do and what they do, they tend to be a little different.
Okay. We haven't seen, like, much of China has been like do deals with them and then they kind of like export to the world. And yes, they've reneged on a lot of contracts commodity wise, but you have not seen massive investment by Chinese companies like in the United States, right?
You're right.
And like, let's see if that happens. I'm optimistic that it could happen. I don't know. I'm also optimistic that there's been a lot of uncertainty, like the growth in America, from GM, Ford, et cetera, slowed this year. But a lot of that was like political uncertainty. And they also, cars were too expensive, interest rates were too high. If Trump allows, interest rate reductions for car purchases, right, that's going to stimulate demand. If more models, I heard GM and others speaking, like a lot of models are coming on stream next year that are going to be lower priced. If we can bring in, more LFP batteries, great.
You know that Europe is down this year versus last year in electric vehicles.
Europe's a basket case. Like I'm not optimistic about Europe. I'm optimistic about Canada. Canada's probably from an election point of view, you're probably going to get the conservatives, in power, and then you're going to have like a bromance between Trump and Canada. And I think if the U.S., the second biggest car market in the world, but one of the biggest economy, has his mojo back, and we're in growth. And we're focused on tech, and we're focused on cutting wasteful government spending, and reallocating to growth industries. So like AI, another big driver. I think regulations.
AI has a problem raising capital, really?
Sorry?
AI has a problem raising capital, you think?
No, but it's going to stimulate electricity demand, and so solar is good. It'll be good for solar and ESS. It'll be good for nuclear. I think regulations towards like autonomy and FSD, and Tesla is going to. They're saying they're in a growth transition year. They still have 3 million car capacity. They're only producing 1.9
where are you? Consensus
cars.
Says U.S. is going to have, I don't even know the number, whatever. How far above consensus are you? 20%, 30%?
I don't have all of these numbers. My partner Rodney keeps closer tabs to these numbers. I'm just the trajectory of a lot of this is influenced by government policy and just economic growth, right? And I'm optimistic what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, right? It's only been a week since the election, but
and remind me, battery electric vehicle demand in the United States represents 15% globally.
Okay.
I mean, making 15% go up by 30% means that it went up 4.5%, making the bigger markets go up has a bigger impact, right? So you're a small market to get it, more people buying electric vehicles is going to make less of an impact on lithium than say a big market, correct?
Okay.
Because right now Europe is ahead of America.
Okay.
And Europe was flat year on year. So.
Okay. So. J.B. Straubel said, like, the United States, 1.8% of the United States car fleet, 1.8% is electrified.
That's correct.
So we've got 98% to go, right? So, like, with a medium to long-term view,
we have
electric vehicles are going to be cheaper. They're better and faster. There's going to be better cars, in my opinion, right? And with autonomy,
where do you live?
I live in New York.
Yeah, and what happens in January on a 20-degree day when you go start your electric vehicle and have to move it 100 miles? I mean, you do understand that batteries can never solve the issue of range can massively down in cold weather, and people read the paper, right? I'm just saying that there's a chunk of America that will not believe this is a reliable vehicle. That's
okay. And there's a large chunk that will. And
I live in California, so I know.
Okay.
Everybody drives a Tesla. I get it.
Okay. I live,
in a cold place.
I live in a house. Yeah, no, but there are tons of Cybertrucks in my neighborhood, and there are tons of Teslas in my neighborhood.
I know.
So, most people are not worried. Like, for the I don't drive very.
Yeah, but it's not you and me. It's the dude who's a plumber who's is he going to buy the electric truck to bring his shit around, or he's not? He's not you and me. Don't think like you and me. Think like the dude who.
Yeah, I don't know that plumber. Like
the use case you're talking about to get where you want to go. It's not you and I. It's not these people.
I hear you. I think total cost of ownership. They're better, faster, cheaper. A lot of the negative argument again.
And that plumber's thinking about, I'm going to do my maintenance car. Do you really think people buy cars that way? I mean, I know.
Okay, not today. A lot of people have been confused by and they don't fully appreciate and understand. There's been a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt thrown on Tesla. A lot, car dealerships, oil companies. A lot of that I think is going to stop. I wouldn't be surprised if you're seeing like a Trump motorcade. Filled with Teslas instead of Cadillacs. Okay, you'll have Cybertrucks. So Trump, the best advertiser in the world, is going to give a lot of free advertising to Tesla. Elon Musk has not. A lot of the Tesla community complained about not educating the world.
Like, in my world, that's not an investable thesis.
Okay, fair enough. Your world is you're looking at the data today, and China has done to lithium what they've done to many other markets, right? So. A lot of people compare it to the iron ore market. Maybe it's not like iron ore.
Iron ore market's been the best market in the world for 5 fucking years.
I know, and maybe that comparison is wrong. Okay, it could be the copper market. It could be the aluminum market. It could be the solar market.
The aluminum market's
right?
a good one. That aluminum market.
Okay, so it might be none of those things.
Sorry, chaps, to intrude, but I think just with time in mind, perhaps we could just have some closing arguments at this stage. If you each want to give a minute or two to wrap up, and we could perhaps a better conversation over a beer, perhaps.
Listen. My closing argument is relatively simple, is that I think for the next 2 years, there's probably slight oversupply, and prices aren't going to move a lot. They're probably going to move up some, not a lot. They're certainly not getting to near 20,000 or near 1,500 spodumene. And I've told you where I can be wrong. And you know what? In the hedge fund business, you're right 60% of the time, you're the best ever. So I might be wrong, 40% chance I'm wrong.
Okay, I don't know. He may be right. There are lots of good arguments why lithium prices are not going to rise very high, by 2026. But by 2027, I do subscribe to the view. By 2027, 2028, we are likely to get a price spike back up to 30, 40,000. And if you're a long-term investor and could hold to that period, if you buy today a basket of assets, you will do well at that point. Most of my lithium investing career has been grinded out, and it's taken 5 years for things to be successful. We got spoiled in the boom of 2020. We had 10 baggers, for a 2-year period. So when and if that time comes, and if it happens sooner to that 30, 40,000, and you own these equities, just sell. Okay, this is not a hold on for dear life investment thesis. These companies, lithium is a commodity. You're going to have ups, downs. You're not buying NVIDIA here. You're not buying Tesla here. Just sell. If you're up 50%, 100%, 200%, don't get greedy looking to make 1,000%. Just sell. But where we are today with a 3 to 4 year view, there are some good, well-positioned stocks, and our preference, is the most consistent way to make money is keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid is keep it spodumene stupid. If you don't have to be vertically integrated, the downstream is hard. If Albemarle, if Tianqi can't figure out how to do chemical conversion from the best ore body in the world, a junior company that is trying to do integrated, very tough. And brines are hard, and there's very few investable brines anymore now that Allchem and Livent have gone away.
To add to what Howard's saying, I mean, the great thing about spodumene is you're taking advantage of very cost-effective and competitive Chinese conversion. So it's simple. It's mining, boom, you mine it, let someone else process it, make your mining margin, that's it.
And I'm a believer in DLE, a believer in sediment, but they just come with a much higher risk profile right now. And I think from an exploration point of view, it's a proven, just follow the Lassonde curve. There are good Quebec exploration stories. There's going to be good, Australian stories. We like Brazil, hard rock, so
Brazil, other than Greenbushes, Brazil is and will be the lowest cost spodumene mining place in the world, without a doubt, not even a question.
expect, and I think these guys have certainly delivered. So again, big round of applause for the group. Right?